Leonard Ramatlakane has been fired as PRASA board member and chairperson. This is over a luxury property scandal in Cape Town. Ramatlakane moved his family into the property while his house was being renovated. An investigation has found that Ramatlakane failed to follow proper processes. Now, the Transport Ministry has welcomed the outcome of the probe, saying it remains committed to clean administration, including governance. Well, let's get the context now, and we speak to Transport Department spokesperson Collen Msibi, who joins us via the virtual platform. Mr. Msibi, thank you very much for your time. Are you able to give us a little bit more information about this scandal that has led to the board chairperson at PRASA being fired?
Thanks, Colin, and thanks for having us and for the opportunity. Well, indeed, there was an investigation which was conducted by the entity itself, PRASA.
Yeah.
And of course, the report was given to the minister for consideration, and which is what she did, and hence the decision which we announced this morning that the chairperson has been relieved of his duties. So the minister also then expressed her own appreciation to the chairperson for the work that he has done. You must recall that he was the chairperson. He resided over the entity at the time when there was COVID, and there was an issue of the vandalization of the rail system. So he oversaw the recovery of the lines, as well as to ensure that we have the rail recovery program in place.
Yeah. Mr. Msibi, I would find it astounding, and I'm sure the viewers would as well, that the board chairperson, of all people, would not have known that it is wrong for what he did, which was to move his family to this luxury property. Talk to us about this property. Surely he was aware that this can't be an ethical thing to do. What actually happened here? Did he act with impunity?
Look, we don't know. I wouldn't be privy to the actual report, but there seems to have been some kind of advice that he may have gotten. We're not so sure what necessarily happened to have made him to make such a decision, and which proved to have been a fatal decision. So necessarily such things would come with the consequences, and hence the minister has acted on it. We wouldn't want, of course, to go back as a ministry as such into exactly what should happen now. Of course, the investigation was done by PRASA, so obviously there has to be, if there's any other follow-ups on the matter now that there's been this decision, we leave it up to the entity to do that.
Mr. Msibi, again, I'm going to press on around this question of this property. Do we know who this property belonged to? Was this a PRASA property to begin with? Or is it one of those instances, and I'm going to make an example here. Oftentimes you will have a minister that is appointed that comes from one of the provinces that is either outside of Gauteng or the Western Cape, and they have to be accommodated for the time being, for them to settle in while a property, a state property they ought to move in, is renovated. Is this one of those instances? I'm trying to understand who the owner of this property is, or what the actual substance here is.
Well, the property does belong to the entity, PRASA, and it is mainly meant for officials who are going to Cape Town to utilize it, so that the entity can be able to save in terms of the hotel cost and so forth. It is then meant for the use of the officials who go down there.
Right.
But in this case, we find that the chairperson happened to move into the property. And obviously that is not allowed. And we also do know that there was an issue about the rental that he had to pay, which you understand that he paid not the market-related rent. So those are the details, and where I'm saying that the entity must then attend to those kind of issues if there's any cost recovery that is involved. But I mean, it has been found there was an error of judgment from the part of the chairperson, and hence it has led to such consequences that we see now. So whether or not there was the issue of impunity, I think it is, as I said, it may have been from his part an error of judgment, but we also there might have been somebody who advised him to do so. So those are the details we then leave to the PRASA, to the entity itself to deal with.
This is exactly why you are now circling back to some of the wording I used right at the beginning to say, did the PRASA board chair knowingly violate processes because he was acting with impunity? I'm the board chairperson and therefore I cannot be told what to do. Does he owe the entity any monies? You've already mentioned that this is one of those properties that costs handsomely for you to stay there. Are there monies that are owed as a result of his stay there? And how long did he stay there with his family, by the way?
Well, the issue of the money that is being owed, from what I understand, is that, of course, the rental that he was paying was below the market rate, and I think it is not up to the ministry now to having to recover whatever that is owing. So it is up to the entity itself to make those kind of decisions as to what should then follow after this decision that has been made that he must be relieved of his duties. So we leave it up to the board and the entity itself to take this matter forward. In terms of the period, I don't have that information readily available, Collen. I think it may have been December, if I'm not mistaken, but I wouldn't be quite certain. I don't have that readily available. But as I said, at the end of the day, there has to be a recovery process if there is money that is being owed, because at the end of the day, PRASA is a public entity, and the monies that are there are taxpayers' money. So we would have to undertake those processes to recover the money.
Collen Msibi is the Transport Department spokesperson. Thank you very much for your time.